When is the last time that you went somewhere to meet yourself? And the question may sound a little weird, but what I'm really asking is, have you ever taken a trip, a solo trip? Have you ever gone somewhere, not to meet somebody else up, but have you ever gone somewhere and just took yourself and just took care of yourself? And for me, the answer was no. That's something that, I've thought of over the years, but honestly, if you know me personally, you know I'm a really social person and I enjoy the company of people. I enjoy the company of a partner or friends or what have you. I was really always putting it off, and up until now, this is the last day of my first ever solo trip of my life. I'm from Houston, obviously, so I didn't go too far. I came out to Austin, and I've been here from Sunday through today's Thursday, so Thursday's my last day. I want to talk to you guys 3 things on this trip. A, what the purpose of doing a solo trip is. What were some of the challenges that I experienced in it, and ultimately, what are some of the things I learned from the trip? The purpose of the trip was really wanted to be able to sit in the silence of just the presence of myself, be able to get some time away so I could prepare and mentally clear my head for the new year. I could realign, spend some time in prayer, and spend some time focusing on myself and kind of what my head was, what I wanted to do for the new year. One of the things I love doing is I love going out to eat. That's like my guilty pleasure. I like going to nice restaurants. I like experiencing good food. And I love to do that with other people because I love to give that experience and share that experience with people. I rarely, actually, let me rewind that. I don't think I've taken myself out to a nice dinner ever by myself up until this week. And it sounds weird, but that's just like the reality. All of those reasons were some of the main purposes of me coming out here and spending some time to disconnect and spending some time alone with myself. So I wanted to get into some of the struggles, some of the things that I had a hard time with, or some of the things that I struggled with. Somebody on the other end of this camera and can relate and maybe can get some help out of it. One of the first things I struggled with is like I had just like a urge to meet somebody. I wanted to spend some time with somebody. I wanted to meet a friend up for lunch or drinks, and I had to remind myself like that's not the purpose of this trip. I'm not used to just being in a cabin or in like a tiny home by myself. So that was the first thing that I had to really battle and kind of constantly remind myself for the first couple of days. The next thing that really caught me off guard was I've never taken myself out to dinner to a restaurant, like just me, ever. I've never gone to a restaurant and just got like table for one. I've never done that. And this trip I did that every day. And I will tell you guys, the first day I literally, and this is gonna sound so lame, but I hope you guys can appreciate the transparency at least, because I'm just being real with you. The first day, I literally like intentionally procrastinated going to eat. Literally gave myself a little pep talk. Got up, went to the restaurant, and then even when I got to the restaurant, the first thing I did was went to the restroom and kind of like shook out some of the nerves. I think this is why learning yourself is so important. Because I'm an extremely confident person. If you meet me, I'm very social. I feel like I'm well-spoken. I'm just a really confident guy. But I wanted to share this vulnerability with you because I think it's normal, right? If you're somebody, like I talked to my therapist, and one of the things she told me was, if you're like always around people and always in a social interaction, and your work is a social place, like it's normal that you feel uncomfortable in a silence. It's normal that you feel uncomfortable in solitude. So if any of you feel like that, I just want to let you know that's completely normal and it's 100% valid to have feelings like that. I had to remind myself of that conversation, and once I got over that like mental hurdle with it, once I was able to just sit at the restaurant, sit at the table, sit at the bar and not try to make myself busy, I actually really enjoyed it. I just had a lot of fun with it. It took a couple days for me to get to that point of doing it, but I really encourage you to go out there and try it if you haven't. For me, it did a lot of good. I think the last struggle that I would say I had was, just having unexpected waves of emotion. What I'm learning is when you're in silence with yourself and when you give yourself that space, what's going to happen is it'll create a feeling of safety. And when your body feels safe for that long, what happens is emotions that maybe you buried down or emotions that you've kind of put to the side will come to surface, because they feel like they have a place to be heard. They feel like they have a place to be recognized and addressed. So that absolutely happened for me the first night. The first night mainly was like a big night for me. And it was kind of unexpected. I was jamming in the hot tub, listening to some music, and then bam, like life, right? I just wanted to set the expectation there that if that happens, I think just Give yourself time to breathe through it and give yourself time to understand why you're feeling like you're feeling, and just take care of your emotions, because they're only coming up because you've given yourself a safe place. And if you're not somebody that normally does give yourself that place, I think it's really healthy and it's really important to take care of it when it comes up. That last point kind of transitions into some of the things I learned, right? I learned to be comfortable in the silence. I learned to listen to my body in the silence, and being okay to disconnect and being okay to process an emotion. The other thing that I never really considered, which is like self-esteem. I felt really, really anxious going into dinner by myself, like I mentioned, but coming out of dinner, like leaving dinner, getting back to the Airbnb, getting back to the little tiny home, I felt great. I enjoyed taking care of myself. Like one of the days, I went out to eat for lunch, went and got my nails cleaned up. Then I took myself out to a really nice Italian restaurant here in Austin. It's called Red Ash. I 100% recommend it if you're ever in town. I had a great meal that night, and I left feeling really like just thankful that I was able to take myself out, grateful that I did take myself out. I can't recommend it enough. The last thing I took away from this trip was it really just validated that I can push myself in areas that I'm extremely uncomfortable in. One of the things that I'm posting on some other socials is kind of the journey for 2023 for me. This is a year to really understand myself. This is a year for me to really become a person of action. It's a year that I'm gonna stretch myself and make myself really uncomfortable, because I think it's gonna pay off in the long term. And I want to continue to document the journey, because if one thing I learn or one thing that I struggle with or that I go through can help somebody else on the other side of the camera, that's why I'm so comfortable doing it. On my TikTok, one of the things I mentioned was somebody that's really close to me told me one time that sometimes they felt like I confided more into a camera than with the close people around me, and that's absolutely been true for me. It's something I'm working on and I'm getting a lot better at, but I think it's because I selfishly lean on you guys. My personality is, if I can do something for somebody else, I would rather do that. And subconsciously, I feel like if I put the right message out there and I put the vulnerability out there, it could help one of you. And if it helps one of you, that makes me feel like stronger to do it. I've had an incredible time in Austin. I'm headed back to Houston today. I just wanted to check in, wish you guys a happy new year. Thank you for engaging and watching the video. I know this is kind of a sit down talk, and it's a little unorthodox from some of the usual content I make, but I don't care. I don't care. I want to start making stuff that I enjoy. I want to start making stuff that I can get behind, and topics like this are things that I really care about. So I hope you took something away from it. Thanks for sticking around if you stuck through the entire video. I will see you guys next time. Peace.